What's going on, everyone? So, for months now, the Los Angeles Lakers have been linked to Jerami Grant and a potential Jerami Grant trade. However, the asking price for Jerami Grant was insane. They wanted 2 firsts for Jerami Grant. Just not worth it with his contract, especially his play and production this season. He is not having a great season playing the game of basketball. We saw him in the recent Lakers game just lay an absolute dud. I mean, was like unplayably bad. And, yes, I still think Jerami Grant is a good player. I still think he's an upgrade over pretty much everyone else on this roster. I wouldn't be against going and getting Jerami Grant, but it has to be the right price. It just makes no sense giving up everything you have to go get Jerami Grant when you have other needs that need to be filled. Also, does Jerami Grant even want to go to Lakers? Like, he's talked heavily about how he likes staying in Portland. The Lakers were trying to trade for him years ago, back when he was in Detroit. And he said something along the lines of, like, he doesn't want to be a third guy or whatever, right? So, I mean, is that something that he's now changed his mind on, changed his perspective on? Maybe, right? Maybe he's like, okay, I'm getting older in my career. I'm 30 now. Like, I should go to this place. But you're starting to see the asking prices of players drop. Kyle Kuzma's price drop. Now, Jerami Grant is supposedly able to be had for 1 first. Still a little reluctant. If it's like a heavily protected first, and you can get like a Robert Williams or something in the deal at this point, sure. It's just he's playing too bad, right? Like, if he was having a really good season, right? Like, look at Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is having a very good season, right? Like, he give a first up all day. I would even give up a first at a pick swap. You got to save one of those firsts just because you need to make other moves. You need to make other trades. But first at a pick swap, here you go. It's yours, right? Like, but for Jerami Grant, given the contract, and as well as the production that he's presenting, it's too big of a risk. Now, look, big difference playing alongside Portland, who's one of the worst teams in the league, and Simons and Ayton are your number 1 and 2 guy alongside you, and playing and slotted alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you just have to be this 3-and-D guy role, right? Like, big difference out there. Getting Jerami Grant, I'm not against getting Jerami Grant. I've never really been against getting Jerami Grant, but it has to be at the right price. Like, everyone knows, I don't see them getting a first for Jerami Grant at this point. Like, there's no takers. The Lakers are still linked to Jerami Grant, right? There was reports came out, Kyle Kuzma, Jerami Grant, the usual suspects, right? Like, so I definitely think he's still an option, but you have to drop the asking price. If you can get him for, basically what we got Rui for, what was Rui, 4 seconds? If it's something like that, sure, because then you still have your first, right? The risk reward is there. You didn't have to give up and sell the farm to go get him. Or if you could give up a protected first, but also get Robert Williams in the deal, sure, right? Like, it just depends on what is the addition. But even like Kyle Kuzma, I think Jerami Grant is better than Kuz, personally. That's just me. I think he's better than Kuzma. However, Kuzma, I think, is just, given his contract, how it declines each year, age-wise, they're not that far off. But Kuzma's not having a great season. I would just be more comfortable, because I also think you could get a Valanciunas in the deal if you were to give up a first, right? I think you kind of get that kind of bundled. Maybe you add in another second, right? So if you could do the same thing with Jerami Grant and get a Robert Williams in the deal for a first, okay, maybe I'd be more inclined. Maybe I'd be a little more confident in that type of move, in that type of trade, because you just look at his contract, right? He has still 3 years, because he has a player option for $36.4 million, which I don't see him declining. So he's making $29, almost $30 million this year. Then he's going to make $32, $34, and then $36.4 as this contract progresses, right? It's just, and if he was having this like stellar season, I'd be like, hey, go get Jerami Grant. Right? In the offseason, I was very big on like getting Jerami Grant, right? Because it made sense, because you were looking at like what he did the previous year. And it was like, okay, if you can get that, perfect. Like, that's what the Lakers need. But you look at this so far this season, 24 games. He's averaging 33 minutes a game, averaging 13.4 attempts per game. He's shooting 39.4% total from the field. He has upticked his three-point percentage this season to 38%, which is good. He was down to, at one point, like 32, 33%. But his uptick has increased on 6.6 attempts at 38.4%. 2-point range, he's shooting 40.5%. EFG is 48.9%, which is the lowest since like his second season. Right, his EFG is just not shooting the ball very well overall. He's having his struggles this season. From the foul line, he is shooting 82% from the foul line, so that is good there. Again, his uptick, he is in an upward trend recently, which is good compared to earlier in the season. He's still not been great, but he's having a bit of an upward trend when you look at kind of the last few games, particularly since that late game. Rebounds, never been a good rebound. He's averaging 3.6 rebounds. He's a career 4 rebound a game guy. So not a guy that's just going to magically get a bunch of rebounds. However, he's never also really been asked to do that. Right? Like you see him just kind of like standing out there and like getting back. So maybe if JJ and this team kind of pushes him like, hey, we need you to get up to at least 6 rebounds a game, 5 or 6 rebounds a game. Maybe he could do that. It's one thing when teams you've been on aren't really requesting for you to crash the glass, aren't really requesting for you or pushing you to help rebound. So you're just kind of getting rebounds where you can rather than like actively hunting them down. Big difference. So maybe, again, don't know. We'd have to wait and see if you were going to get him, but maybe that could kind of change for him. That would be nice. 2.3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 16 points per game, which again is all down from the last few seasons. However, if he can, to me, it's more about the consistency. He's been very inconsistent this season is the problem. But if he could kind of get back to being the consistent Jerami Grant, uptick his defensive production, which, again, very different playing alongside Ayton and some of these other guys. And then, if the Lakers make several, let's say they get a Dorian Finney-Smith still, and, now you got Anthony Davis, or you go get a point of attack guard. Some big difference if you have multiple guys out there working hard on the defensive end, and then just like, or it's just Jerami Grant, like, I'm the only guy that can defend. Simons is worse defender than D'Angelo Russell. Ayton, can't defend in the interior, right? Like, I have nobody, right? It's like, so I'm going to just be the only guy going out on the defensive end. Very big difference. So I do think he kind of get that defensive uptick, get that defensive production. Look, if he can come in and be a 16, 4 and 3 guy, and even 38% from 3, but more consistent. Stop with this roller coaster, right? Like, obviously bad games happen. That's fine. But I'm talking about, like, can he plug in and be that legit 3-and-D guy, shoot at an efficient clip, put the ball on the deck, score the basketball? His 2-point percentage needs to pick up. But also, again, it's very different when, you're playing alongside all these other guys on a bad team, and you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis that are attracting all the attention, and so you're just out there just kind of on an island with a guy, right? Like, very big difference. So, again, it's not I would prefer Cam Johnson, right? Just contract-wise. Could you go get a Dorian Finney-Smith also, right? Hope maybe Cam Johnson's asking price goes down because you're seeing all these other teams kind of drop their asking price, and the Nets drop their asking price for Dennis Schroeder. So, maybe they'd be more willing to, maybe you could do a first and a pick swap and get a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Cam Johnson, right? Like, that'd be great. And a Day'Ron Sharpe. Like, if you told me you could get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe for an unprotected first, a pick swap in like 1 or 2 seconds, perfect, beautiful, love it, let's get it, right? But again, it just depends on what the deal is there and what you're realistically able to get. Like Jerami Grant, it's just, you have to send out $30 million. Okay, like you can get there. Like that's not too hard. D'Lo and Gabe Vincent and whatever else if you want to throw in a vet minimum just to kind of clear off a couple roster spots because Lakers have been interested in like a Markelle Fultz. Or maybe get an Alfred Payton or something like that to kind of, especially if you're going to trade Gabe Vincent. So if you could do something more like D'Lo and Gabe Vincent, right? If you could do something like that to go get Jerami Grant, again, you probably have to throw in, a young piece, even if it's like a Maxwell Lewis or something like that, just to kind of, clear off spots, but also just to kind of get that deal done, match the salaries that you need to match. And then you still have like, say, Rui and Jared Vanderbilt and Max Christie and whatever else you need to pull off some other trades and go make some other moves. Perfect. I would love to do it. Like if you get Jerami Grant and still go get Day'Ron Sharpe and Dorian Finney-Smith, perfect, right? Like just depends. Depends on obviously what does Portland want beyond the first. No, do they want just nothing but expiring contracts? Do they want Rui more? Okay, fine. No problem. Give them Rui. Gabe Vincent? Like, would they be willing to take Gabe Vincent, or do you have to go like, and stack guys? Like, just boils down to like, how difficult does Portland make it? And is it worth giving up a first for? Right, like 2 firsts? No. They clearly realize, we're not going to get 2 firsts for him. Everyone else is dropping their asking prices. So, but the question is, like, also Portland doesn't have to trade him. Like, they're still bad. Like, getting off of Jerami Grant, although I think it is in their best interest to trade him. 1, to get off the money. 2, to help tank more. And 3, kind of open up more minutes for their young guys that they got, right? Like, you kind of make an argument on several fronts for that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Jerami Grant at a first? Do you think, no, still too much, still too high of an asking price if you get him for a couple seconds? Or do you think, like, if you get another piece, like I said, Robert Williams, if you get Jerami Grant and Robert Williams for a first, sure, do that, get it done, or like a first and a second or 2 seconds or something like that. Like, what is your kind of bar for that? All right, Phil, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.